Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the Ryan and Rush Show. On today's episode, we interview Keddy Johnson and talk about his time as a Mountaineer and what's next. We also discuss the Boston Celtics and Joe Mazzulla and what's to come as they take on the Heat tonight in the Eastern Conference Finals. All ahead on the Ryan and Rush Show. And we welcome you back to your source for West Virginia sports. I'm Rambling Rush. He's Moneyline Mac. We are the Ryan and Rush Show, and we're here with the glue of the West Virginia basketball team from last year, Mr. Keddy Johnson. Keddy, thank you so much for coming on the show. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
It's
Keddy,
our
thanks
pleasure.
again for hopping on. Just give us a little update what you've been up to. Season ended 2 months ago. What have you been doing between now and then?
For the most part, I just been working out. I was taking a little. It took me some time to decide an agent, but I finally decided on an agent probably like a week ago. So now I'm just working out up until these NBA workouts I have in June.
Plus, you have the TBT coming up. Your schedule is going to get jam packed. It might be even more busy than when you were playing basketball here. Curious about that. You hired an agent. What kind of goes into that process of hiring an agent? Hopefully, one day we'll have to hire an agent. So.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just all about I'm a loyalty guy, so I tried to decide on who I felt like was gonna be the most loyal to me, and the agent that I chose. A lot of his clients, I'm friends with. I actually went to high school with one of the clients, CJ Massenberg, that went to Buffalo, and I talked to him about it, and he told me he was a good guy. And the bond me and CJ shared in high school, I kind of trust his word a lot, and also Gabe too.
Lodi G, yeah. Obviously you mentioned it. You're a loyal guy. That's why you came to play for Hugs at West Virginia. Let's rewind before West Virginia, though. Talk about your childhood, growing up in the state of Texas, the Dallas area, going the junior college route. Give us a little, just for everybody tuning in, that wants to know Kedrian Johnson before he was a Mountaineer.
I mean, at first when I was a kid, I actually was better at football, so I was playing football. I played football until probably like sixth grade, sixth, seventh grade. Then I was like, I don't know. These dudes getting kind of, too big. And I'm like, I don't have the biggest frame, and them dudes was kind of big. So I was like, it's time to make a decision. And I wasn't really, once I got older, I wasn't really too big on being outside in all types of weather. So I chose the basketball route. I started playing basketball. Decided to just focus on that. It was fun. So, I kind of dedicated myself to that. In high school, well, I played middle school. I got to high school my freshman year. I was supposed to be on. I was supposed to play varsity my freshman year, but we had a rule like if you didn't live in the school's district, you had to play like your grade. So I played freshman my freshman year. My sophomore year, I jumped to varsity. That's when I started playing with CJ that went to Buffalo. He played West Virginia a couple years ago. So after that, that's when I started playing with the older guys my sophomore year. And that's when my game started to go to the next level. I was playing with older guys. I was the only underclassman on varsity. So that was kind of rough, but I ended up starting towards the end of that year. So my recruitment during high school, it was a little to none, real slow, underrated, one of those type players. But I ended up going to St. Peter's because that was the only school that offered me a scholarship. I talked to other schools, but they never offered me the scholarship. So I chose St. Peter's, went out there. I was out there for probably I got there in June or July. I did the summer school sessions. I did that. School started. For some reason, I don't know why, I was ineligible to play. When I did both summer sessions, I got the right SAT scores before even, going out there. So in my head, I'm just like, all right, come on now, what's going on? Why I can't play? So around October, I was just like, all right, bro, like, what am I out here for? I'm not playing. I'm just going to class. I can do that at home. I can do that way closer to home. And I was in New Jersey. And I was 17 years old, so I'm like, yeah. And so I decided to go home around October. I withdrew from all my classes. I'm like, okay, what I'm going to do now? But a couple of my one of my teachers from high school, we was close ever since my sophomore year, since I took his class. He was a big sports guy. And I always told him I wasn't going to college. So when I left St. Peter's, I got back. I talked to him a lot. My mom talked to me a lot. And they just kept telling me, this is not where my story ends. Everything happens for a reason. Mm-hmm. So I decided to go back to school. And I knew I would kill the JUCO level because I was a D1 player. My recruitment was just, I didn't really have too many eyes on me because I played on a family-oriented AAU team with just a bunch of my friends, just basically just enjoying it and not playing on all these major circuits. So I went to JUCO. I actually got on the team because my best friend, he was actually playing JUCO. So he persuaded me to come play JUCO with him. Me and him never played on a team together outside of AAU. So I decided to go play with him. That first year from St. Peter's, I left before the semester ended. So I went to Temple that second semester of my freshman year of college. I redshirted. I didn't, I was just around basketball. I practiced, went to games. I just didn't play. So my sophomore year come around, my freshman year on the court, I played that year, dominated, all conference, all these type of awards, but I never got player of the year. I don't know why. Mm-hmm. Because my first year playing, I led the nation in steals. I was top 2, top 3 in points scored, points per game, all that. I started getting a lot of offers then, but I still had to do another year of JUCO because I needed more grades. So I did another year. My second year come around. Okay, now I'm hearing I'm getting all the Big 12 calls. I'm getting the Big 10, all those type of calls. So I'm like, okay, I really can do something with this now. So Coach Harrison came to town. So, yeah, Coach Harrison came down before Hugs. So I was meeting with Coach Harrison. Coach Harrison offered me a scholarship. Coach Harrison was probably there at least almost once a week. So I
remember.
Yeah, he was there almost once a week. I'm like, I'm in class. My advisor calling me, coach calling me, telling me to leave class. I'm like, all right, bro. Like he doing a lot. He doing a lot right now. Like I can't even enjoy my days because I'm doing this every week. He'll ask me to go eat with him. I'm like, I'm all right. I'm not hungry. I already ate. So I'm going because I wasn't just used to somebody wanting me that bad and getting used. I wasn't used to that type of treatment as a player. So Coach Harrison, he gives me this, basically a game plan on how he gonna get me to West Virginia, how they gonna get me to West Virginia, the classes I had to take, the scores I had to make. So I'm like, okay, he was the only coach to do that, show me that he really wanted me because he stayed visiting me. So I played my sophomore year. Well, during my sophomore year, I committed to West Virginia. I committed early just so I could, I was just getting annoyed by calls, texts, leaving class, all the coaches at the practice. Like, I just want to play basketball right now. So I made the decision. I made the decision on my visit, actually, to West Virginia. That was my first visit. So I committed to West Virginia just to shut down all of the, all the recruitment. So I made that decision. I finished out the year and came to West Virginia.
Hello, Rambling Rush here, and we'll take you back to your episode momentarily. The Ryan and Rush Show is on its way to monetization, and we need your help. Please subscribe to our show if you haven't yet, and let your friends know all about it. The Ryan and Rush Show is your source for West Virginia sports, and our goal is to make this our full-time job and to give you the best news and analysis available. Again, that's The Ryan and Rush Show. Please subscribe today and share with all your friends. Now back to the episode. When you came to Morgantown, obviously, I'm assuming you've never been to Morgantown, West Virginia before.
Right, outside of my visit.
Yeah. So when you got here, what were your initial impressions? Did you have other teammates or coaches or just anyone in the community kind of take you under your wing? Was it at first very just overwhelming, and then, as time went on, you settled, or did you right away feel like, hey, this is home?
I mean, for any guy, when I got here, I was like, I don't know, because I'm from an actual big city and not a town. So it was kind of different, but we had other JUCO guys on the team, Taz, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't really hard to adjust. I think I got settled pretty quick.
Keddy, to be able to be in the position that you're in now, where you're going to professionally here in a little bit be making money to play basketball, it's a dream come true. Who would you say sacrificed the most to get you in the position where you are now? Whether it's your mother, coaches, who would you say maybe one or two people that have just really sacrificed to put you in a position where you are now to make money professionally?
Honestly, I'll say myself. I sacrificed the most because I'm never home. I'm not seeing family. Sometimes me and family barely talk. I don't go for holidays. I mean, I just completely after junior college, I basically just left for 3 years. So I'm like, I'm leaving all that behind to come through this. But my mom, I mean, of course she sacrificed a lot raising me, being my mom, teaching me the rights and wrongs. But overall, I think I sacrificed the most.
I think that's really interesting, Keddy, because when we were covering your team this past year, is we gave you the nickname, you're the glue of the team, right? If the team needed a 3-pointer and then you needed to be the defensive guy on the other end, you would do it. Whatever needed to be done, you would step up. You would either glue yourself to the other team to make sure that they weren't productive, or you would be the one that did things for us. And I think as you're bringing up now, the whole like, I'm the one that made the sacrifices. I'm the one who kind of put myself in the position. Of course, there's people that help you along the way.
Right.
And then you see your style of play where it's this very selfless, very whatever if you need me to defend, I will defend. And whatever needs to happen, happens. And you'll hear coaches say time and time again, you can't teach hustle. You can't, there's these intangibles that you cannot teach. You can't teach someone to care, right? There's the analogy, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink.
Right.
Where does that come within you, whether it's life or on the basketball court, to be, I'm going to be my best self and I'm going to get after that?
I mean, I think everything a person does on the court, it kind of reverts back to life, because if you're not playing basketball to better your life and better others around you, then like, you feel me? What are you doing it for? Like, it's no reason to be doing it if you're just doing it for fun. You got to have some type of why. But I say it's just what I've been through, and like, it's a lot of stuff that I think about daily, even during games, that like just motivates me. Like, you got to do this. You can't give up. You got to keep going, because everybody's watching you. My whole family's watching. They all know what I've been through. So it's just like, I can't let them down. So I think that's what motivates me to be that type of player.
That's awesome.
Yeah, makes complete sense. So, Keddy, you spent 3 years playing for Hugs in Morgantown. You look at the track record of the junior college guys that have played for Hugs. It always seems like year 2 and 3, they really excel compared to year number 1. It's kind of a transition period because it's such a unique place, unique style. Let's rewind to your first year, the COVID year, when you got on campus. You joined arguably maybe the most talented roster that during the Hugs era. You got Deuce, you got Oscar, you got Derek, you got Emmett, Jalen, Isaiah. I mean, Sean, Taz. Who were Gabe? Who were the veterans that kind of, I don't know if take you under their wing is the right term, but kind of just showed you how things were done, the culture that Hugs and that staff had implemented? Who were the guys that really looked out for you when you got on campus? What was it, 2019 or 2020?
Yeah, the guys who really looked out for me was my roommates, Taz and Gabe, because I lived with them. That was what Taz did. Both of them, I think, both did a year before I got here, so they kind of got a feeling on what's going on and the type of player and person that Gabe is. He's just gonna lay it out flat. Like, he's gonna keep it real, how it is, how it's gonna be. So I think Gabe and Taz helped me a lot with just by being my roommates. But on the court, I would say, because they changed me to a point guard, I would say Deuce took me under his wing a lot. Deuce and Jordan, especially Jordan, because Jordan, he knows a lot. He really knows the point guard position. And Deuce Deuce was just a sophomore when I got here, but he wasn't just an average sophomore. He was, he was a mature sophomore. So I think those two helped me mature a lot too.
You talked about how Larry Harrison was very influential about you coming, getting you to come to West Virginia. Obviously, the one offering, the person doing the recruiting of you to get you here. But of course, you get here. There's head coach Bob Huggins is in charge, the Hall of Famer himself. Talk a little bit what it was like playing for him. Was it this initial? You get into practice and you're like, oh wow, this is tough, or did you kind of just ease right into it? What was it like playing for him?
It was a roller coaster playing for him. You know, coming in, I wasn't really too familiar with what goes on, how things should be done. But towards the end, end of the year, I got used to it. Playing for Hugs, I think that's one of my best experiences playing basketball as a whole, because he's a Hall of Fame coach. You know, he knows what he's talking about. He's been in all these type of situations. So I say that's just a blessing to be able to play for somebody like him. But I'll say Coach Harrison was more so like my one-on-one coach, because he coached the guards, and you know everything kind of went through him with being our positions coach. So I think Coach Harrison was kind of the one who, you know, got me to. He always asked me like, "Where's the JUCO Keddy?" Like almost every day, "Where's the JUCO? Where's the JUCO Keddy?" I was like, he gonna come out real soon. But yeah, Coach Harrison was a big help also to you know, helping me get better as far as basketball, off the court as well. Him and Coach Hugs both.
Yeah, makes complete sense, and that's why those two had the success that they had for so long. Kind of piggybacking off my previous question, so you get onto campus, you're trying to find a way to fit in with the roster. You mentioned that Deuce and Jordan, very helpful, taking you under their wings.
Right.
Everybody knows you as a defensive guy. Now playing for 3 years under Hugs and the staff. But I don't think people knew that you averaged 25 a game at the junior college level. How was it difficult for you to kind of step back and take a back seat kind of on the offensive side of things and just embrace the defensive side just in order to help your team win?
For sure. Because actually coming to West Virginia, I still wasn't the best defender. I mean, I had to figure, we had all these scores, so I had to do something to be able to get on the court and play. Yeah. So I decided to play defense, but it was hard at first. My first year, just getting in to play defense, it was hard. I'm leaving games. I'm like, what the fuck? I just had 2 points. That's like, that wasn't normal to me. I was used to at least 20, 40, 30. I'm like, man, I just had 0. I just had 2. So on the inside, I'm just like, man, what am I doing? Like, this kind of heartbreaking right now. I didn't come here to, do nothing but play defense. But, different levels, your role changes. It's always, well, not always, but most situations going to the next level is going to be somebody better than you. In some area of the game is going to be a player better than you in that area. So I kind of, matured and started to understand that. So I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna do what I can do to help us win. I'm gonna go play defense. So I started playing defense, and that helped me get on the court more.
You talk about the grind of playing defense and getting right with things, and maybe starting out kind of on the bench, but also the opponents that you play, the grueling schedule that is the Big 12 schedule. Whether you kind of saw it firsthand and got a little taste of it back in 2020, and then being a starter last year and this year being like, oh wow, this is serious. Talk about kind of the grind of the Big 12 schedule, is especially being in West Virginia, where travel is so much more of a factor than it is whether if you were in Texas or Oklahoma.
Right. I mean, it's a grind for sure, because every Big 12 team is capable of beating you by 20 if they having a good night. Yep. So it's just every night you got to come with your best game. You got to bring energy, especially on the away games. And the schedule is just so tough. Like, we have a Texas trip. We play Texas, Baylor, and TCU. Then we fly back home. Like, I don't think many teams outside of the Big 12 can have a over 500 Texas trip that we take.
Yeah.
That's a real difficult trip. And then we got the Kansas. We got to play in Lawrence. Like, we just play the toughest schedule. So it's it's all about preparation. You just got to prepare yourself for that moment, mentally and physically.
Yeah, and being a Mountaineer, I mean, it's the hardest trip for everybody coming to Morgantown. They don't realize that we have to do it 9 times going to their places. Talk about the Big 12. So a guy in the NBA playoffs right now, Austin Reeves. Everybody's like, this guy came out of nowhere. Us that have been in the Big 12 and Mountaineers know that he didn't come out of nowhere. He played at Oklahoma. Who would you say for you is the hardest guy you've had to guard in your 3 times here? Just the toughest matchup. Like Reeves, he just reminded me of how shifty he was at Oklahoma. He was always hard to guard.
Yeah.
Who was your kind of, I don't know if it was kryptonite, but like who was the toughest guy to stay in front of and going into the game? You're like, man, this is going to be a tough night tonight.
I don't think I had a kryptonite because it's just like if I had a bad night, I had a bad night. It's not because of not any player, not anybody guarding me. But the toughest player that I had to guard 3 years on a different team, I done guarded so many people in these 3 years.
No doubt.
Man. I'm trying to think who scored the most on me.
You think about all the good guys at Kansas. I mean, Cade Cunningham was in the league too. I mean, he was the number 1 pick last year. You guarded him.
Yeah, I don't think he was a tough guard, though. It's easier for me to guard taller players because I got the speed advantage.
What about Marquise Noel at K-State? Just a little shifty guy. Those little guys always are tough to keep in front.
That was a challenge every night for me and him. Yeah, I think he was one of the toughest because I got to guard the pick and roll. He can shoot it from damn near half court. I can barely touch him. It's like I got to play so conservative against him because, the refs will call fouls because he's a smaller guy. And if I bumped him, it'll really knock him off balance. So I'll probably say Marquise Noel from Kansas State or Dewan Harris, too, because he's really underrated. He's a great point guard. He takes the shots when they're good shots. He only takes good shots. He's a great passer. He just make a lot of things happen.
What's these past 3 years, Keddy? So 2-part question is one, what, and maybe this answer is the same for them, is what was your favorite win that you were a part of being a Mountaineer? And what was your favorite memory? Even it could be a self memory, like, oh, this night I went off. Maybe it was, but it was a good time.
My favorite win that I was part of was for sure my first year Oklahoma State. We came back from 19 because I was a big contribution to that win, and that was just like, okay, now Mountaineer fans know who this guy is. Now they know what he's capable of. So I think that was my favorite win that I was a part of. Favorite memory? I mean, of course, my last game was a big memory to me because, it was my last game and my best game in 3 years. But I'll say, sheesh. My best memory has been a lot of memories. Probably the NCAA tournament win. That was Hug's 900 win.
Yeah.
That was something big. That was something big to be a part of.
Yeah, no, that was a fun time. And that Oklahoma State, I mean, that was a double road trip going to Oklahoma, and we had already dropped the first one. We're down 20 in Stillwater, and I'm like, man, we're going to go 0-2 on this trip. They got Cade Cunningham. I mean, they were kicking our ass.
For real. They had a good team that year, too.
Yeah, they were up 20 with 12 minutes, and then I remember you had a couple steals, blocked one off the backboard, and then Deuce hit one from about the parking lot to steal the deal.
I took the charge to
the charge.
Hey, foul out. Yeah, that was a fun game.
And Derek moved his feet against Cade Cunningham down the stretch on that last possession. That was big time.
Yeah, that was a fun game.
Yeah, that was fun. And obviously the 900th win, that nobody will ever forget that. So let's transition into what's next for the Mountaineers. We talk about your toughest matchup. I think it was always a tough matchup for whoever you were guarding because you were going to pressure the ball at the 10-second line. And you look at all Hugs' teams over the years. It all starts at the 10-second line, whether it's Javon Carter, yourself. it erases a lot of deficiencies on the back end you may have defensively if you can pressure the basketball. Anybody that goes to practice just hears ball pressure, ball pressure, ball pressure
all day.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the team next year? Obviously, good portal class coming in. Who do you see kind of replacing what you brought to the table? Eric, Emmett, Jimmy. What do you think of this team next year?
They got a real talented team, as you can see. They got height, they got scores, they got a point guard. But I say the person to take over what I brought to the table a lot, I say Joe for sure, because I practice against Joe every day. I guarded Joe. He had to guard me. And I think Joe's just as good as I am on defense and moving his feet. He's a lot. Joe's lateral quickness is probably faster than mine with him being shorter, a couple inches shorter. And Joe's scoring, I've guarded Joe. His scoring is very underrated. He can score the ball. He can shoot the ball. He can pass it. He probably get a little rush sometimes, but Joe is a great player. He's going to be a big piece to this team next year. I'm not really too familiar with the guys they have coming in besides Jesse because we played them in the NCAA tournament. But Jose, he can score the ball. Jose has he has a pro game. He know what angles to take, how to get his foul calls, when to get them. Jose has a great game. Trey, as we saw, skill big, stretch big. I think he's a guard that can just score in the post the way he actually can play. Trey will be a huge piece as well. With him returning and being a returning starter, he'll be a big piece. Who else we got? JoJo, he got to learn a lot from Emmett and Eric, having to go at those guys every day. JoJo plays with a ton of energy. He's always ready to play. Great person, great personality. I think JoJo will be real successful here at West Virginia. Mo suffered an injury towards the end of the year. Could have been a great big help in the game against Maryland. Mo's game is underrated as well. Mo can shoot the ball, handle it a little bit. I watch him work out. I'm just like, bro, why wasn't you doing none of that? He's like, I don't know, bro. But yeah, I think Mo's gonna have a great year, big breakout year. I see Mo having. Who else we got coming back? Seth and Kobe. Play with them 2 years. Kobe, great defender, long arms, can drive it, can shoot when he wants to shoot it. Seth, there's another scorer, another guy starting or off the bench that'll give you shots, give you points off the bench. And overall, I think they got a lot of talent. I just want for them to be successful, they're going to have to really, work together and play together a lot, get familiar with each other because they got probably 5-6 people coming from a different school, kind of like last year with us. And we kind of started clicking late. If we had did that early, I think we would have been a higher seed in the tournament. So I just want these guys for next season to go ahead and get that chemistry right this summer, get down to town, play with each other, play open gym so they can develop that chemistry before the season starts because that'll be a big help.
Absolutely. And it definitely seems there's a lot of excitement. And usually when standards are high, you're expecting great things from a team. I feel like that trickles down to the players being like, we got to live up to expectations. So then you see summer ball and everything like that coming together. Let's talk about you because you have a lot coming up next. Keddy, you just said you hired an agent. Congratulations again. You got NBA summer workouts and training camps coming ahead. But you also, as we talked about, decided to join TBT in West Virginia. What made you decide to do that the first summer you were eligible?
Not being ready to leave West Virginia. I think
That's
I
awesome.
just wanted to, play in front of those fans again because I don't think that I wish that last game we had could have been at home, but it was an away game. So I just want to play in front of them again because they always show me love since I've been here. So, and West Virginia fans are like family. They support you. They love you. They'll give you your last. They'll walk you across the street. So it's just like I want to do a lot for West Virginia fans.
That's awesome.
That is awesome, and that's kind of just the culture that's been implemented there by Hugs and the staff over the last 15 years. Is the guys come back to the summer, and you guys will be working out of the summer. James Long is the coach, or already announced as the coach once again. He played for Hugs. You got John Flowers, Kevin Jones, Nate Adrian. Talk about how the TBT team kind of helps this new team as well. Like, I don't think people realize that the guys come back in the summers, do work out with the current team. How much did that help you in the summers with your player development?
It helped a lot. I mean, playing against all pros, it's like they're doing pro things, not doing too much. You know, they get what they want in less time than what college players do because they've played overseas. Some have played in G leagues, NBAs. So playing against the TBT team for me was a big help because I had to play guys like Tavon, Jay Sean Page. Who else did I guard? I think that was probably the only people I guarded.
Wani.
But yeah, Wani,
Yeah.
ex NBA guy. So you learn a lot from playing against them. You try to see what they're doing, how they're doing it. So that helps a lot.
At the end of the TBT, what Best Virginia is holding that $1 million check. It's because Keddy did what? What is your role in this for Best Virginia?
I'm gonna be a big energy guy, big defensive guy. You know, I'm gonna still play my same type of game. I'm just bringing, younger legs, more speed, things like that, things in that nature with the older guys.
Yeah, no, I think that's very important. I mean, the team is getting older. Father Time is undefeated, so being able to have you come in, pressure the basketball for 94 feet, make open shots, share the ball, it's a great piece. I'm glad that you're going to be a part of it. Let's talk about what's after the TBT to wrap this thing up. What's your timetable on where you will be potentially playing next year? When are you looking at making that decision? You mentioned just hiring an agent. When do you want to make a decision on where you'll be playing and making money next year professionally?
I plan on making that decision after the TBT tournament is over. If I play in it, probably a week or so after, because like my agents told me, playing in the TBT, that helps me a lot. Outside of the summer workouts that I have, the TBT will help me overseas or even in some G League teams because the TBT is just like an older March Madness. Everybody's watching it, so they said that'll help me a lot. So I plan on making a decision after that if I don't have a great opportunity before.
You need Gabe to recruit you to Cleveland's team. You guys should play again. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that's one of my workouts in June.
Good, Gansey. Yeah, that'll be awesome. Well, I'll have to take a road trip up to Cleveland if that's the case. But Keddy, again, thank you so much for your time. I just wanted to end on this last question because a lot of people know Kedrian Johnson, the basketball player. You talked about a lot here in their interview, and we really appreciate you opening up. But what is something that you want people to know about you that may not be basketball related? That if you're like, hey, if people knew this little more about me, maybe they would understand me a little more.
When people see me, they think I'm like, I don't know, because I always just got like a straight face. I don't just walk around, all smiley. But I actually laugh a lot. I'm a nice person. I like to show people love because, a lot of people don't know what that feel like, and I just want to get that out to other people.
That's awesome. You're a good man, Keddy. Thank you so much for coming on and all your help. And I mean, just even the reason you're playing in the TBT is just you want to get put on one last show for West Virginia. It was an honor to watch you. Obviously, it was an honor to interview you, but it was an honor just watching you these past couple of years. Thank you for all the hope you gave us and just everything. It was great.
No, for sure. Thank you.
Thanks, Keddy. Appreciate it, man. Go Mountaineers.
Oh, yeah. No problem. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Go Mountaineers.